Swivl Sessions, interviews with field service entrepreneurs. Get insights and strategies from those who took the leap and risked it all to start their own home service companies.
All right, on today's Swivl Session, what a great show. We had Michael and Stephanie from 525 Plumbing in Atlanta, and it was just refreshing to have it was a father-daughter team that has built a company on honesty and integrity. He's an ex-Roto-Rooter guy that just didn't like all the selling, and they've created a pretty cool company that is truly family-based, and has done a great job with building that business based on honesty and integrity, which in plumbing business is a little bit rare. So it was a great conversation. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I agree with you. Father-daughter combination. I mean, I didn't realize how interesting that would be, but those two, they have a great team. They feel like a great cohesive team. They're honest. He said, don't lie to people, and that's like a great way to that just describes the company right there.
That's right. And with the trades, that can be difficult. I mean, I know that a lot of guys are out there ripping faces off, and, because people don't know what is going on in the plumbing system, so they can sell them things. They do it all the time, and this is why people don't trust some of these people. But these guys have proven otherwise. So great show. Enjoy it. Welcome to Swivl Sessions, where we dive into the world of field service entrepreneurship. Now, before we get into today's interview, we'll introduce the host you'll be hearing from. So first is Edgar. Edgar spent the last weekend in Cedar Key cruising on scooters with his girlfriend. So finally, we found a vehicle that matches his top speed at work. Edgar.
Wow, that was good. Man. Whew. Hey guys, I want to introduce you to Rob, Swivl's founder and our operations guru by day, aspiring chef by night. Well, not really. Here's a fact. Recently, Rob attempted to make lasagna and ended up creating a minor fire hazard instead. The top layer didn't just burn, it achieved carbon. The lasagna was so scorched it qualified as a new coal deposit. Better luck next time.
It's a clean coal.
One thing, you can make that maybe. Make it longer next time. All right.
You say that every time.
For the good stuff. All right, for the good stuff. Today, we're excited to introduce Michael Franklin and Stephanie Sanchez, owners of 525 Plumbing Services, a plumbing company based in Atlanta, Georgia, actually right down the street. So Michael and Stephanie, welcome to Swivl Sessions. It's great to have you here. How are things going in your world?
Great. Thank you for having us.
All right. So you guys are located in Decatur or Scottsdale, which is literally right down the street from us. How long you guys been in business?
I live in Tucker.
Yeah.
And the business originated like not 3 miles from me.
I live in Tucker.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rob's just chomping at the bit to talk about that. I like Tucker. That little downtown?
All right, again, it's not about us.
That's a nice place.
Not about us. All right, let's go at you guys. Edgar.
Yeah, so Michael or Stephanie, just give us some background on pre-525 plumbing. Like, what was going on? How did this come to be what it is? And how did you decide to start the business and why?
Wow. So I did my apprenticeship in Virginia, and my wife and I, Stephanie's mom, moved to Georgia in 1994, and I went to work for Roto-Rooter, and I worked for them for quite a while. I think it was 7 years. No, 94. So, see, now you're making me think. Let's see here. We got here in 94. I started my business in 2002. But so I worked for them, and then they did a lot of changes. I actually became a general manager of one of the branches. They did a lot of changes and downsizing and stuff. So Mary and I just decided to go ahead and start our own business. And that's what we did. So
I love it. Was there an actual moment where something happened, or was it just over a long period of time where you just said, let's get this going?
Once the company I worked for started changing, and I knew I was going to be changing, I was either going to have to, one of the places was go to Baltimore and some other, and we just decided, you know what, that we're just going to transition into our own company. So we saved up enough money for 6 months worth of struggles and just started it.
You also, Dad, one of the things, right? Like you and you didn't want to have to go with that whole sell when it's not needed always.
Yeah.
instead of more looking out for the customer. You brought me up on that. So I know that was
Yes.
one of your things too.
Roto-Rooter is about sell, sell, sell. Am I wrong?
Yeah, and they are actually. So when I started there, I'm moving from. I lived in Maryland, worked in Virginia, but moving here, trying to find a company that would pay enough because the pay in Virginia was better than down here, and we were trying to have enough that to make it more of an even swap. And nobody was paying anything down here, but Roto-Rooter offered the chance to make money. But it took me 3 months to decide if I could work on commission because they were all commission and still be honest and make enough money. And so we went ahead and did it. And you go back and forth. Well, if we do this, we do this. If I say this, but it worked out. I ended up being one of the top producers and
There you
doing it
go.
honestly.
And that's a rarity.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, I mean, we have a unique dynamic here because we've got both of you guys. So Stephanie, what was your decision to jump into the family business?
Well, I actually went to college and got my
You're a
bachelor's
bulldog.
degree. Yes. And I got it in psychology, and then jumped around on different jobs between like tutoring and like a tech help job, like programming universal remotes. I even did it for Charles Barkley. I didn't have a good path. So I started my master's degree, but I ended up not wanting to continue that. And my dad gave me the opportunity to actually have a
Actually,
career.
her mom told her, said, "Look, you have worked with your dad all your life. Just give it a month and see if you like it."
Yeah. And you're in the
So,
field,
Yes.
which is a rare thing. I mean, did you at least feel like there was some kind of a blocker for you as a woman?
There's hurdles, physical hurdles, but I also have advantages because I'm smaller. So I can get into small spaces.
There you go.
Sometimes the customers don't trust my word quite as much, but most of our customers, I would say,
and
enjoy
the women
having me work for
customers,
them.
especially, and the men customers, their guard is let down when she comes in because they're always usually if a male plumber comes in, people are more on defense. For
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, even you though, like we'll call our customer, like not a customer, but like somebody who got referred to us, and sometimes they can't be there, and we'll offer them the option, like, well, if you want to leave a key for us or something like that. And I'd say at least it amazes me sometimes because they've never met us and they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll leave you a key. It's just our word of
Huh.
mouth and how positive, I guess, people talk about us that they
yeah,
don't
all our
mind.
customers are word of mouth or referrals. So if somebody refers us, then they're like, yeah, they'll be okay.
I like that.
And then
So
I got
tell,
my husband into it.
and he's doing plumbing now, turning a wrench
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
with no experience before that.
No experience before that.
I mean, plumbing
He
service
worked
is
at uh, a shoe store,
But wow, I'm
Champs.
blanking right.
Champs.
Chance,
He was
yeah.
a manager at Champs,
all
and he was
right.
just frustrated all the time.
Well,
Bet.
that's
Yes.
a giant leap to go from
It
selling
was.
shoes
Retail.
to
Yeah.
plumbing, which is really an acquired taste. Am I wrong?
It is. You either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
Plumbing is not one of those things where you're like, oh, it's okay. I can do this for a little. It's either you like it or you don't. There's no in between.
And especially plumbing service, right? I mean, I know plumbing companies that we've talked to that just refuse to do the service aspect because it's demanding on your time. It can get a little messy, right?
Complicated.
A little complicated.
Every
For
day's an
sure.
adventure.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me this. All right, so I always like to kind of delve into the levels of expectations that you have, say, before you jump in a business and then afterwards. So oftentimes, and it's kind of I guess a double pronged question because we're going to have two different aspects that we're going to be looking at from both of yours. But Michael, before you jumped into your business, you had saved up 6 months worth. Your assumption, your expectation is that you're going to need to use that kind of money.
In case, if we didn't, to live,
Oh yeah,
because we
yeah.
had expenses and everything. So
Well, did you there's a lot of surprises, what I found. When you jump into business for yourself, then you're like, man, I didn't expect that. Can you tell me about any of those expectations that were met or that were not met? And that goes for you too, Stephanie. I mean, you jumping into the family business.
I would say for starting the business, it went really quick. We didn't end up needing the 6 months. I just started rolling. We got calls first advertisement we did was the old newspapers, local newspapers.
So your first advertisement you were talking about. So most of it's word of mouth, but when you started off, you did an advertisement.
Yeah. So we advertised in one of those small papers that, where it says handyman or plumber or something like that, and just started getting jobs off of that, and then the referrals, and it just snowballed into regular staying busy all the time. I've never not been busy, really.
That's awesome. I love it.
So your expectations were met. Was there anything where you were like, "Oh man, I didn't realize it'd be like
Taxes.
I knew it.
Taxes.
Everybody says taxes.
not everyone, not everyone. But that's always
No,
is certainly that's a surprise
I
everywhere."
actually had an accountant told me to, because I started as a sole proprietor, and he's just said set back 40% of everything you make
Yeah.
to pay your taxes. So that's what I did.
Now we're LLC sole proprietor.
Yeah, we're S corporation as an LL.
Okay. All right. Stephanie, what about you? I mean, I know like jumping into business with your dad can be an eye opener. I did the exact same thing, and kind of scared me when I got to know his persona, his work persona. Did you
I
have
wasn't
any
really
surprises for you?
surprised because I'd worked with him when I was
From the
like a
time they were little.
teenager. So it really wasn't a big difference I mean, it was more of like, I guess we hadn't worked with each other in years. And
Yeah.
I had gone from, all the knowledge I had before, not done it in a decade or two,
Right.
and then going back into it, having to start all over again. And, going from one person to two people on a job, things go faster. So it took a little time. And then business, I think it was pretty fast. Business picked back up again enough for us. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I got my own a truck, like not a van, but a truck.
Yeah.
And he had me doing all the sewer calls at the time.
Oh man.
I always start them out sewer. I mean, you got to do the drains. You have to do the drains first. We did the same thing with Carl.
And Carl's your husband, Stephanie, yes?
Yes. Yeah. So I had I did all the drain calls for a while, and then I finally got more into the technical stuff. And so now Carl's the sewer guy.
Yes.
All right.
But he's so
Nice.
good at it, we're keeping him there.
So you have all kinds of good stories for family mealtime then.
Yes.
All right.
So the company started in '02.
Yes.
Okay, and then Stephanie, when did you join the biz
Full time.
full time?
So I started when I was 30. So it'll be 11 years this year.
Okay, okay. You're fully in for sure.
Yes. I've got my master's license, so I can work on any size property.
Master plumber?
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, master unlimited.
Unrestricted.
What do they call it?
Unrestricted.
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 Very nice.
And you have that too, I assume, Michael. Yeah.
Yes.
So am I the only one here that doesn't have that?
Yes, you are. In fact.
Uh-oh. Need to go back to school. Rob,
Yeah.
will you pay for that?
Nope. So
Uh,
tell me this:
yeah.
what unforeseen hurdles have you? And then I'm sure there's plenty of unforeseen hurdles that you have hit over the past, whatever, I guess 23 years that was a surprise to you. And then what hurdles still remain in front of your business objectives?
COVID.
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 That's a big one.
But it really wasn't. I mean, it was only that like everybody was so scared at first
Yeah.
to have people come in. I got calls from people like completely backed up, like,
Yeah.
and they're
And they
like,
wouldn't let you in.
they were like, we're just not sure. Is there anything we can do? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, let us in the house.
Yeah. You go out the back door, I'll come in the front door.
Can't do everything from a clean out, right?
The masks were a bit hard to work with because of how hot and stuff it got.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We fared pretty well during COVID still. I mean, it
Yes.
wasn't our best earning year or anything, but
It really was.
It's a
Yeah,
good
it
trade to
wasn't
be
so right. It was kind of a leveled out earning year, but so as far as hurdles go, we've been really blessed. First of all, plumbing is a great business. Everybody needs plumbing. And so we haven't really had any major hurdles that I know other plumbers have gone through. So we've had a pretty blessed run.
now because we had, maybe I guess you had a couple hurdles in the beginning before I started, right? With finding
Employees.
people. Yeah.
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 Those
That
are
wanted to
always
stay not
not
Yeah.
just through
long
COVID.
haul,
We're talking
or
about
even
like in general, right?
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've had employees that's steal my van. I had one plumber I hired. He's great. I knew him from before. He was a great, fantastic plumber, and I hired him on, and found out months later that he had gotten addicted to crack. And so, I think 6 months, maybe a year he worked for me. I didn't know actually. So I found out later that that's what it was, but I started getting recalls on him. And then, he at the end, he stole my van and, but he had screwed jobs up. So it took me couple years they would call say you guys was out here 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
or a year ago, and so but that I tend to put that all in the past, but
Learning
those are hurdles that you
experiences.
have to deal
Learning
with.
experience for sure. He's probably was one of my ex-employees. It sounds like many of mine actually. But yeah, they say,
If they're in
plumbing is a
Atlanta,
great business. I think, they say it's what separates first world countries from third world countries, plumbing. And it's
yes,
as simple as that, right? And the other thing I'd say is I think service plumbing in particular, there's no, it doesn't come and go with the economy. It doesn't come and go with the seasons. Toilets get backed up, right?
right,
Things get broken. So it's one of those things that if you're in the service industry, then like it doesn't slow down. It'll speed up as much as you can do it. And like through COVID, if you've got a reputation, like it seems like you guys are depending on your reputation of integrity and honesty to that's a
correct.
great buoyancy mechanism, really,
It
in any
is.
market. Hats off to you for navigating not only COVID but the rest of it as well, and sticking to what I think is the best, sticking to that the service industry in general. So I know a lot of companies that they'll go to the service industry and then they'll try to branch off into new construction, and then it goes boom and bust, and then it destroys their service industry. So
We had a couple. Remember Quiznos, Dad? Remember we
Yes.
did. So we
My
did
God, I did.
that for a little bit, and then the guy ended up like rolling money over from one project to finish another, and then
He,
we got
yeah, he
paid
would
until the
pay.
end.
Yeah,
oof.
he would pay the next job. He would pay that job from the next job, and finally those jobs ended.
Ponzi scheme.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't
something
feeling the
like that.
connection.
That and
Hmm.
Quiznos, there was but Quiznos, I just don't even think they're around anymore.
And for a while, but you said
Yes,
it was boring,
I hated new construction.
and I
I
could
hated
see
it.
how it would be boring.
Same thing every time, right?
What is your base now? Is it mainly residential, commercial, service,
It's
any new
We do
both.
both.
construction? Okay.
Some
No new
remodels,
construction.
no
Yeah.
new construction at all. That's a whole different that's a whole different type of plumbing. And
Right.
you have to be set up for it. And we're not set up for new construction. It's nowadays the new constructions for houses is it's all quantity. You don't make anything off of an individual house. You have to do hundreds of them. The
So
service is where it's service is the best. It's something different every day. It's good income and it's and people need it. But you
Absolutely.
have to like it.
so your customer
I've
base though
cursed
is
out quite a few fixtures and cabinets. It can be frustrating, but yeah, I love my job. So
so residential and commercial,
Yes.
or property management at all?
No, no property management. Commercial in we do like the assisted living place I'm working in
Yeah, yeah.
now. It's not industrial commercial. It's more just you could call it multi-family dwelling,
multi-dwelling,
but condo
yeah.
complexes. Um,
No apartment
yeah,
complexes?
that's condo complexes.
No, no apartment complexes.
No apartment. No, we don't. No, I'd never do for apartment. They don't, their management changes too much, so they don't
Yeah,
pay well.
yeah. Well, I know
No
that.
relationship really there, I guess.
So
Completely.
yeah, being able to manage those receivables, and it's a little bit of a really it's a barrier to entry to kind of keep good companies like yourself out of it. People get afraid about jumping into working with those guys because they can be difficult. And some of those single family property management companies too, might own thousands of homes around Atlanta. It can be a lot of work, but not easy work.
Next question we can ask you, Stephanie. How big is
Okay.
the company? Like, I know you got the family, your husband, your dad, your
Yeah, it's just
mom.
us three. So my
Okay.
mom passed 4.5 years ago.
All right. Sorry to hear that.
And thank you. Yeah, it was Alzheimer's. So that was she actually so when I started with my dad, like she was doing all the scheduling and it was like with index cards. Like she would write the schedule. She took all the calls. She did all the accounting. She did and so then I started and we started using QuickBooks online so we could do invoices and stuff like that way. And then like the calendar we were able to use Google Calendar. We started to do that. So that was easier for us to input calls and stuff like that into that. But yeah, we ended up getting a tax accountant like about 11 years ago. I think he got, and yeah, about around that time, because my mom wasn't able to do it anymore. And we kind of had to, we couldn't do everything. So we had to get somebody to handle the other stuff.
A true family business. I like it.
All right, so tell us this. So the company's been in business since '02. You've been around for how many years we say?
11.
In the
10,
10
11,
years
yeah.
in the business. And what kind of revenues do we do, say, last year? I'm assuming it was like, minimal the first year. And what kind of growth rate are we seeing? And then what kind of revenues we're looking at last year?
So we're looking in between, we pull in between 500 and 600,000 revenue. And do I think we could increase that twofold? Yes. It's just we actually have a personal life, which is great. And we also don't push people to do what they don't need to do. We give them options, but we could sell a lot more if we pushed it. It's just nice to have a personal life too, especially with a daughter.
There you go.
Absolutely. And I know that is difficult when you've got calls coming in at 11 o'clock at night, and they'll eat it up too if you offer it all the time, right? Do you do 24/7?
No, for the most part, we don't. We were doing like we've got it pretty sweet, thanks to my dad setting up the business as he did and allowing us to, like I said, have a personal life. We do emergencies for customers that we know and we have usual customers. Like if, so the assisted living place that we work at has a lot of emergencies. So we make exceptions for them or exceptions for certain people, depending on the emergency. Like some people might have 4 bathrooms and one's clogged. And at the time they're like, it's like an emergency. And I'm like, how about we can do it first thing Monday morning? I
Use the
think
other 3
that's,
bathrooms, right?
but we would never say that,
No.
that. But so I think that one of the biggest struggles sometimes is being a technician, taking calls and scheduling. And we've gotten told to go ahead and do a call service. It's hard to transfer our customers to somebody, and then they set up all the schedule for us. I was telling him, Dad, that we were talking about, the whole revenue and then, how much time like you allow us to have a personal life, and
Oh yeah.
thankful that, you set it up to where we're able to do those kind of things. Like if our daughter gets sick, it's really, we all work as a family, which is really great.
It's worked out. They work hard, so it's like, and I remember the days of 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And so it's nice. They do a lot at home with the paperwork and the invoices and all that. So it all works out. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah,
That's good.
It is.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what life is all about, right?
Yeah.
Well, you could grow, keep your integrity if you hired people, and that's also just a headwind, right?
Yeah,
Well,
Carl's like
it is. Carl,
Yeah.
because I've got like 3 years to go and I'm out.
Nice.
And I don't want to, and Carl, he used to manage people all the time. And he's like, he'll end up being the one doing it, which he would be. And he doesn't want to do that. So, and it's a good living without having to do that, unless your goal in life is to just be, I mean, it depends on what your goal is. You could have the goal. I know I have friends of mine that their goal is to just be multimillionaires in a short period of time. And they've got friends that started plumbing companies like Keep Smiling, where they're small and then they get real big real fast and then they sell off. And so that it just depends on your goal. I always stress out with employees. When I worked for Roto-Rooter as I started out as a plumber. Then they moved me up to a supervisor and then a manager and then a general manager. And it was just stressful and I didn't enjoy it. I loved getting back in a truck. When I got back in a truck, I was so happy.
You were I remember that time
I was
period,
stressed
and you
out
were
because
not happy.
I worried about everything.
I think that's common. I mean, a lot of times I've found that you can be great, or anyone can be great at their job, and people tend to tap them to become managers. And they may not be great at it, because what they're great at is being a manager is something completely different from doing
It
the
is a
job.
different ball game.
Yeah, indeed. So
I wanted to grow initially, but the management side is not my forte.
it's exceptionally difficult, I would say, in the plumbing business. Am I
It
wrong?
is.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, the people that you get, I mean, crack and
Your
meth and
employees
heroin.
and then the customers, and you're always dealing back and forth with them. And
Yeah.
it's a unless you find somebody that you can hire that will take all that responsibility and
Right.
go with it. Problem is they're going to move pretty quick. But
Right. Unless they're family. So I mean, you've done
yes,
well to recruit the family in the business.
I'll get my daughter into crawl spaces soon enough.
Get her started while she's small.
That's
yes,
right.
Like,
Where are we on this? So we kind of did talk about technology. You had mentioned,
QuickBooks
Stephanie,
and yeah,
QuickBooks and Google calendars and such. Are you still kind of using those to operate? Tell
yes.
us about that a little bit more.
So now we've all three of us can add to the schedule. We talk a ton on the phone and figuring stuff out and timeline and stuff. We try not to schedule more than what we think we can do so that we don't have to call people and keep constantly pushing them back. Then right now, so we're incorporating like putting paid, billed on that as well. So
did I just do that? That's fun.
I don't know
That's
what you
hilarious.
just did, but I love it.
he heard the
No,
word
I'm not
paid,
touching
and
anything. That's hilarious.
We're
and
keeping
then
that.
Yeah.
I like it.
so
That should be the end of the show, fireworks.
so it's still QuickBooks and spreadsheets and Google calendars. Have you tried any of the field service softwares out there?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we have a
Now I tell
particular
you, with the
particular
three
interest
of
in
us,
that.
because our communication is good,
Yeah.
the they did a great job of getting the QuickBooks stuff so it billed people, and the schedule app that we have, they do it through Google Calendar, but mine it's a shared calendar, so we can all look at it, and we're all good at looking at, can we do this, and then we just call, say, hey, do we have room for this, can we fit this person in? It just works really well.
Sounds good.
Keep it simple.
All right. So what
I do
does
think yours looks like a good platform, though, from what I saw.
it is? But again,
Thanks.
this is about you. We'll show you some things that we think might be able to work later on. But so 525 plumbing, what does it look like in a year, 5, 10 years? You guys are going to take it over, Stephanie, you and Carl, and then in 3 years is what I'm hearing, and just keep it as kind of a lifestyle business.
So far, that's the plan. I've
Right.
tried to maybe talk about it a bit more on expanding, but life
I
is
think.
good.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, the thing is Stephanie's really good with her money. So it's not like, so she does good with her money. And so the money that she makes, spends it well, and they're putting in stocks and stuff. So they will do okay unless they decide they want to start buying property in Florida and a yacht, stuff like that.
Right. Those good
They've got
investments.
their house. And for me, I'm just like I said, I've got 3 years. So I turned 66 in May. And so actually maybe 4 years. So my goal is by 70. But if I'm feeling good, I'll still work.
That's
yeah,
right.
we're recruit them.
Yeah, part
Be like,
timer.
hey, I know you're on your motorcycle today,
Can you pull over and fix this plumbing over here,
Yeah.
please?
but he's a genius when it comes to plumbing. So we've got a great teacher that we've learned from. I mean, he still has people he knew from Roto-Rooter calling him and asking advice on stuff. I mean,
That's
so
awesome.
we've got a good teacher.
It's always good to have a mentor.
With a Yeah, I've been blessed with the jobs I had. That I did 4 years apprenticeship school, and then the jobs I had and the experiences I had just put me in a good place.
Well, it seems like you've built a pretty nice business, and um, and being able to do that with that level of integrity and honesty that you've been expressing that you've been doing it with
Plumbing's a
is
great trade
fantastic.
if people would get into it. It is a great trade.
I think people are getting into the trades more as supply and demand, right? It's almost like it's necessary, and it's becoming more profitable, I think, and I think people are starting to move into the trades, which is a good thing, if not a great thing for a lot of ways. So if Stephanie, you decide that you want to grow the business, I think it sounds like there's going to be a greater supply of people to train at least, and then hire. And I think growth opportunities are going to be a little bit easier on the employee side, but we'll see.
I think there's a generation where there's a bad stigma attached to
2
trades.
Yeah.
generations where they went to
Absolutely.
college instead.
Well, and that's right.
Yeah.
And that's, they're like everyone and their mother going to college and they just don't need to. People, I mean, it's if it's not an academic thing, then but they're going because they think they have to, right? Or they have Hope scholarships that kind of like forces them. Um,
Well,
but
I read an article a while back, and I don't know if my numbers are exactly correct, but in 2000, in Georgia, there were 6,700 and some odd licensed master plumbers. Today, there's only 4,500.
wow.
So that's how many people didn't get into it, and everybody's retiring out of it.
That's right. And I think that just makes it more attractive because if you're a master plumber, you can make a lot more money, right?
Yes.
And the business side is wide open too. I can attest to that.
They're buying more and more businesses smaller and smaller, and then they're doing the like
Roll up,
investing,
Yeah.
buy the company, and then what is it? Why am I blanking on it? It's not
like
the
private
shares.
equity.
Private equity
Private equity.
investors.
That's what yes, yes, yes.
Well, that's how I exited my business actually. So it was like fantastic, and we can dig into that a little bit more. But yeah, so for you guys, exit strategy is no exit strategy for now, is what I'm hearing, right? Maybe
Well,
Correct.
for
maybe in the
me,
future.
I got many moons left.
That's right. So you could take it on that track for the private equity exit. And that's it. I'm telling you, it's not a bad way to go. You can do lots of things with it.
I know people that did it, and they're very happy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know the multiples that they have been paying have been incredible. I know there's a bunch of, market turmoil now, so I'm not sure how that's affecting the private markets, but, yeah, I think for sure it's a great business strategy if you can do it. Right. But yeah, you have to deal with those employees and, you
Yes.
either got to hire them right or you got to train them right or both or some mixture of
Well,
it to
then
get it
people,
Cross
you
your
done.
train
fingers.
them, and then they go to a different company,
That
and
is
that's another
correct.
thing. And
Yeah.
that's tough when I don't know. Yeah, it's tough
I had a
when
lot of that. In a way, I feel proud of it that they were able to spin off and do their own thing, as if I taught them something. I don't think I really did, but some people taught them some things. But either way, the relationship that you have with your customers, that's the value, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
they can't really take that away if it's your relationship, at least, or your company's relationship. If you're operating with that level of integrity like that, you can't break that relationship because that's a rare commodity in the plumbing world.
We've seen like families grow. Like
Oh,
like
Yeah.
totally.
kids,
Yeah,
we're like, oh my gosh, it feels like yesterday you were 10.
that's
Or
right.
like
New
or
customers.
3 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So
all right. So the 30-minute mark has been blown away. So we'll try to draw it to an end. But your stories are great. I love hearing it. I love the how it's a family business and what you're doing with it. I love all the insights that you shared. Those are valuable to lots of people, but especially people who might be thinking about jumping into their own business and seeing what makes you guys tick and what might make them tick. So, if there's anything that you would like to, some advice that you would like to give to someone in that audience that might be thinking about jumping ship from Roto-Rooter or something else and starting their own business, right? What would be a piece of advice that you guys would offer up to them?
Dad, I'll let you take this one away.
I just honestly just do it. Just go into it, but be honest. Don't try to make.
Work the
I've
system.
yeah. Don't jump into it, buy a whole bunch of equipment, and then have to pay for the equipment through all the jobs that you have. So then you have to upsell everything to get enough money, and you start just go into it with a good integrity and don't lie to people. I tell people this all the time. People know it in their gut when you're not telling them the truth. If you're on a job and you're trying to tell somebody that something is not, they feel it in their gut. They may go with it, but they're not going to call you again because they just didn't feel comfortable with you. So, but just go into it, do the right thing. And if you don't know the answer, say, I don't know the answer, but I'll call somebody and get it.
I
And
like it.
don't, and
Here, here.
definitely don't be afraid to ask for help.
I love it.
Good.
There you
I
go.
do
That's
love
great
it.
advice.
And
Fantastic.
don't
Yeah.
save enough money to pay your taxes.
Those damn
And your
taxes
tax
again.
accountant at one point.
That's
At some
It'll
right.
point.
shock you. I mean, you guys know, it'll shock you when your tax bill comes and you're like, damn, I thought I had some money in the bank.
That's right, and that's the problem when it's not being taken out of your paycheck every week, right? That you
Right.
don't really notice it then, but you certainly notice it when you get that bill at the end of the year. All
Maybe
right,
the only like advice is to, you know, when getting out on your own is to remember that the money is not just for the time you're using, but for the skill you've acquired.
Yes,
Good,
very much
good
so.
one.
A good one.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll use that one too.
I'll say that was from Chris Rodriguez, an electrician that we work with. He's really good. He was talking about that one day, and I
You guys
was
should
like, oh
interview
yeah.
him.
There's a plug.
I just wrote his name down. We'll get his number
Yes,
from you
he
afterwards.
he would be awesome to talk to.
Now,
You guys probably
the only thing is maybe a 2-hour podcast with him.
You guys
he
are pretty
struck out
darn
on
good.
his he struck
Yeah, and he's the best electrician I've ever met in the 41 years I've been doing this.
I love it.
It'll be
Well,
42
good.
years on her birthday.
We'll definitely look him up
Wow. Okay, I'm doing the math.
then. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on and talking to us. It was an incredibly enlightening
you.
conversation.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you
was
to
interesting.
Michael Franklin and Stephanie Sanchez for sharing those valuable insights and stories. It's great to see how you guys are built 525 plumbing. And, we'll look forward to see how it goes after the transition, especially. And Stephanie, what you do with it after the handoff. So love the entrepreneurial spirit. For any of you who are watching or listening, if you're in the greater Atlanta area and you need a plumbing service, make sure to reach out to 525 Plumbing Services. You can find their contact information right here on the screen.
Awesome.
You gotta put your fingers up.
There you go.
There we go.
Believe me, you can trust you're working with a true, reliable expert in the field. So once again, thank you, Michael and Stephanie, for being here with us on Swivl Sessions.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening or watching. Swivl's field service software is everything you need to run your field service business for free. Till next time, check us out at swivl.tech. That's SWIVL.tech.